Hi everyone. We're here with Alan Fink, our Unitrends product manager, and he's going to be giving us a short overview as to why schools, colleges, and educational organizations need to think about backing up either Google or Microsoft 365. Thanks very much, Alan.
Okay, thanks, Stuart. We won't keep you too long. This is very, very straightforward, and we would like to just run through very quickly with you three major misconceptions today, which have resulted in serious problems with education establishments. Academy Trust, for example, been targeted by ransomware, and three simple points that we'd like you to have a look at and give some thought to. So ransomware, we've all heard about it in the news. It's everywhere. The attacks are common. Personally, deal with these scenarios daily and weekly. From £30,000 upward, there's some real horror stories in the news, but it's common. Businesses are being targeted, and the sums involved are ridiculous because it is a multi-billion-pound business. People are actually employed to scam people. There's call centers in India. So ransomware, it's no longer a case of if you get caught, but when. If you don't adequately protect yourself, you will be hit, full stop. So let's talk about SaaS now very, very briefly. There's some major misconceptions in the world as a whole. Common problem, Google Workspace, my data's in the cloud, so why do I need to back it up? Well, Google are great at providing a resilient infrastructure, and that provides a number of layers of protection covering the infrastructure itself, connectivity and availability. But what it doesn't protect you against is human error. So legitimate or illegitimate deletion. So if somebody accidentally or deliberately deletes data, and of course ransomware and malware attacks as well will look to do that, lock it down or delete it. You don't have any cover. Once it's gone for good. Obviously, initially it goes into the recycle bin, and that's available for 25 to 30 days, depending on what type of data it is. And some might say, well, what about Google Vault? That's available. And Google Vault is actually an indexing system, and it's very good for the legal profession who want to find specific items for court cases, for example, but it's not backup. You cannot recover from it. So once the point I want to make is once it's been deleted, is gone. There's no way of recovering it. You can't recover data from Vault into Google Workspace. So this is a major misconception that we're trying to address. Similarly, Office 365, well, yeah, Microsoft, my data's in the cloud, so I need to back it up. Exactly the same shared responsibility model. If you read their end user license agreement, Microsoft recommend that you use third-party software to back up your applications and your data. Their responsibilities, like Google, center around hardware failure, software failure, natural disasters, and power outages. But again, human error, programmatical errors. You got synchronization between on-prem and cloud SaaS. Issues can occur there. Malicious insiders, disgruntled employees that delete a load of stuff before they leave, or hackers, viruses, and malware that seek to destroy your data, or ransomware that seeks to use a ransom in order for it to be released. Again, with Microsoft, recycle bin, once deleted, it's in there for 14 days, up to a maximum of 13. But once it's gone, it's gone. So these are needs to have a way of covering that data very, very quickly, either an individual email or a SharePoint site, for example, in a non-destructive way, should these scenarios arrive. And very briefly, I'd just like to touch on a third popular misconception, and that's the end result of not dealing with this or addressing this is phishing attacks, spear phishing attacks that seek to compromise end users' cloud SaaS email accounts. Centers on a weakness that we've discovered. Around 76% of people actually reuse or use in some way the same password across all their personal and business accounts. Is quite common. And once a hacker compromises your personal account, then the credentials required to be able to look at business accounts, business email. And then, of course, you've got the horror story of the FD whose account was hacked, an email trail was faked, and he paid out £5,000, £50,000, which just disappeared off into the ether in the form of bitcoins. It happens. It's a common problem, and it's quite scary. So we're looking to raise awareness around this, and we have a solution to talk to you about specifically from Unitrends, product called Spanning Backup for SaaS, Office 365 and Google Workspaces, which will give you a resolution to all and any of these problems. One, the main high level features are you can instantly recover from accidental or malicious deletion. The data that you store is SaaS to SaaS. So if you're looking to protect a Microsoft account, Unitrends store their data in AWS. So again, Microsoft being a target for attackers, AWS is less of a target for ransomware or malware. And the same with Google Workspace. You know, they're less of a target because they're not Microsoft operating systems, but it's also stored on a AWS, a completely different vendor, so you have that additional layer of protection. So number one, you have the ability to recover instantly for any kind of issue that you may have found. They also offer a total protection bundle, which brings three together to give you a complete layer of protection across all these attack vectors: anti-phishing and malware protection. They also have dark web monitoring, which was a purchase called ID Agent. And what that does is scans the dark web to see if any administrator or personal email credentials have been lost, stolen, and sold on the dark web. If they turn up, it will immediately flag that up, and it's great for administrators who can then go talk to users to advise them to change their credentials, or actually use the phishing simulation to you almost do you send a phishing email out to your users to see who might be tempted to click on the links. You can then put in place a short training program to raise awareness for that as well. That's part of the package. All of this data storage is hands-free. It's stored in the cloud, different vendors, has self-service, one-click restore, so users can actually recover their own emails rather than bother administrators. Very, very importantly, you have infinite retention and unlimited storage. So in the case of Google Workspaces, your classrooms and your notes are protected, all your collaboration areas are covered. On Microsoft, it extends not only from email, but across OneDrive, OneNote, SharePoint, Teams. So calendars, chat, all of that data across that whole suite of applications is protected, easily accessible to you, self-service, and can be recovered very, very quickly. And there's a couple of great examples there where educational establishments have been hit and been able to recover very quickly without any pain, without having to pay any ransom. And Google Suite Marketplace advises us we've got 1.4 million users already using this facility. Worth mentioning, they've got a promotion on at the moment. Unbelievable, 72 pence per user per month, which is less than pounds per year per user. In addition to that, there's an educational special which will give you 4 user licenses for each faculty license free of charge. So an unbelievable offer. Quick calculation, £9,000 for 14,000 students, last year 25%. So incredible offer. Going into ransomware a little bit deeper, what Unitrends offer you, which is quite unique, is immutability. And if anybody out there has had a conversation with insurers against malware recently, they're all asking for immutability. What that means is when you do your backup, you set a time for when it will be locked down. So therefore it cannot be changed, moved, or deleted, therefore compliant. You can get ransomware insurance, and if you're ever hit by ransomware, it's not going to affect your data in any shape or form. HIPAA compliant backups. There's reporting in there if you ever have to do an audit. And those are really the high level items that are really, really important. They comply to all the latest regulations. A little bit more about Bullfish, anti-ransomware and phishing. I touched on it briefly before. It gives you a very, very clear insight as to what's happening in your organization's data, highlights if you've got any potential attacks going on, and also allows you to program tests to ensure that users are fully trained. And there's lots of templates and things in there if you want to go pick out some information and send it out. It's very quick and easy, a few clicks to actually create one of these things and send it out. But most importantly, it highlights if it spots any potential going on. This is the ID agent dark web monitoring. Again, we've covered that, but very simply, you can see on the right hand side, there's a pane which shows you there's been password hits with user credentials. Of course, it blocks out everything other than the last 5 digits, but it shows you what users need to be guided to change their credentials to secure their accounts. In-app remediation makes it very simple and easy to do. Very easy on the administrators. There's nothing complex or overbearing in any of these solutions. It's quick and easy to get it installed, up and running, scheduled, and then it's set it and forget it, they call it. So it pretty much runs itself. Just touching briefly on Unitrends as a strategic vendor solution, just point these out here if I can get my mouse. So if you're talking about Office 365 or Salesforce or G Suite or Azure workloads or AWS workloads, these are all standalone solutions. If you just wanted to look at that particular item, they're SaaS to SaaS. But if you take that a step further and look at Unitrends as a more strategic vendor to protect your on-prem assets, NAS, SANs, hyper-converged infrastructure, which they're accredited for all the major ones, virtual or physical servers, they have different options around how you can do that with a physical all-in-one appliance that does everything and has all the power, compute, storage, and everything to be able to collect that data and secure it, or virtual only if you have virtualized infrastructure and have capacity on the compute to be able to spin up a VM. You download the software and have that version. Slight price differential, but not much in it. It's just a case of fitting with your organization. What do you need to deploy and where to cover these assets? UniView brings all that into the single pane view. So whichever of these elements you want to consume, then it's a simple single management interface. That's on-prem backup. Take that a step further to a second site replication for fast disaster recovery and business continuity. So actually back to this stage here, some very, very clever stuff here. These instances will record all the blocks that are stored so that if you ever need to recover, for example, a server goes down, you can spin the server up on this appliance within minutes and give your users access to that server. There's a physical to virtual conversion happens. As I say, if for whatever reason the server goes down, you can recover from that in 5 to 15 minutes. Over to the 3-2-1 of data replicate, that 3-2-1 of data storage, 3 sets of data, 2 different types of media, and 1 off-site. So cross WAN replication happens if you've got 2 sites. You can do all your backups to one. You can replicate it to a second site, a data center, or the cloud. Or if you don't have access to any of that, Unitrends also have their own cloud where you just pay for the amount of space that you're using, and that gives you the ability to recover from a major site failure. The workloads are spun up in the cloud and you provide access to users through a VPN, and again you're up and running very, very quickly. And that could be done either with an all-in-one appliance or software only. If you have a data center with virtualized infrastructure on there, there's a model there which keeps the cost down. And then the third step to this will be, what about long-term archiving? Again, Unitrends offer appliances or software solutions where you can actually replicate to tape, NAS or SAN. They have their own archiving appliance, or again, you can use Unitrends Cloud if you don't have any of that. Clever thing about this, cross-site replication has all the enterprise industry standard functionality like a 256K AES encryption, deduplication locally. So before the data is shifted anywhere else, it's deduplicated something like 5 to 1. It's encrypted before it's sent, and it's encrypted at rest and on the fly. They also have some very clever stuff in there to make sure that if there are any changes within your backups, and this is a common problem as well, ransomware has got so smart these days, it quite often can sit dormant for months or even approaching years before it's activated. This is quite key. Unitrends protect you against that, so that if one, it scans all the backups to make sure they're clean. If for any reason something did get in there and it made a change to a file, it would flag that up immediately and let you know that there's a problem. Commonly, people will get hit by ransomware, go, that's okay, fine, I'll roll back to yesterday. Oh, there's still got ransomware. What about last week? Well, there's ransomware on that backup. What about last month, last quarter? It's still got ransomware on there. This won't happen with Unitrends. So that's the whole solution. Single pane, single management, whatever of those elements you decide you have, it scales with your needs over what timescales you have and want to approach it. And that is it. So I don't know if Stuart, you have any questions that might be relevant to your customers?
Yeah, thanks very much for that, Alan. That's been very, very interesting, very useful. What we'd say is we're Vitalizer, a partner for Unitrends, and with Alan and his team, we can help you get this set up. We can help you do trials, evaluations. We can go through one-to-one video meets to go through any specific questions you have. And if this is something you'd like to find out more about, please do let us know. We'll book in a more detailed one-to-one session to go through your requirements, go through this in more detail, show you some product demos, and we can then take it from there. But thanks to everyone for watching, and we'll hopefully speak to you very soon. Thank you.